please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
So the market at 10,177, just trivia, I guess, but the all-time high on the Nifty was 11,000. What was the high? The high was 11,171 was the high. So we basically at today's low have lost about 995 points from the all-time high, and maybe we'll make that 1,000 points in some time. But this is looking pretty serious selling which is going on. Let's take a very quick look at what's happening on Jaiprakash Associates once again. They just pulled the intraday up. It's down 10% now. So this is looking pretty 13% now. It's just selling off like nobody's business. 13 rupees and 90 paise, breaking down and going south in a very, very sustained kind of fashion. So that's a 2 rupee cut, 2.5 odd rupee cut coming in on Jaiprakash. I just want to take a very quick look at what's happening on some of these sugar stocks. So you can quickly put these intradays up. Dwarikesh, if you can have Triveni, Dhampur. These are all coming up as some of the biggest losers on my screen. And I'm looking at the top 200, 300 odd stocks, and they're all coming up with large cuts. BEML is down another 8.5 odd %, 1226 on BEML. There's Tiruvaruran Sugars, Balrampur Chini. These are all 7-8% losses that I'm talking about. And of course, then you add what's going on in the PSU bank space, and you get a sense of what's happening. Let's get Shyamsunder Bhat, who's CIO, Exide Life Insurance, with us. He's ready. Shyam, thanks very much. Good to have you with us. What's really the dominating factor for the sell-off? Do you suspect that, I mean, just look at yesterday's session. In terms of flows, FI is actually bought in yesterday's session, and the market broke down the way it did. Is this leveraged retail selling? Are there some sort of redemptions which may have started at the margin? What's going on?
So you're right. When one sees the figures for yesterday, for both the domestic and foreign funds, it does not clearly indicate anywhere near the kind of selling pressure that we actually saw. So one does tend to expect that this does seem to be selling from possibly the retail and HNI segment, largely, especially yesterday. Because that generally tends to get dominated by the way the sentiment and the news flow moves. And clearly in the last few days, we've not really had the news flow helping the markets.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And in terms of reasons, can you identify, the really dominating driver for this kind of pressure? Or this is, people are kind of given up, saying, well, let this thing settle down. There's this PNB. Globally, things are looking a little shaky.
Yeah, so as you mentioned a couple of points, so I think it's not really one single factor. The last month and a half, we have seen a lot of factors which have been impacting the sentiment, commencing with the long-term capital gains tax imposition in the budget. And then, of course, we've had news flow in the US, particularly the latest news flow on the tariffs on the metals front, and some concerns now domestically as well on the political scenario. So the markets had been possibly looking for reasons to correct, given that we've not had a correction for a long time. There have been a lot of investors who've been actually waiting for this correction to happen, and which we are now seeing. And as we all know, the correction, frankly, is significantly higher already compared to what is indicated by the Nifty. So while the Nifty might be indicating a correction of only about 9% from the peaks that we saw in January, a large part of the market is already down 30 to 40%. So to that extent, actually, the market is offering a lot of individual stock-specific opportunities. While there may be still some time to go in terms of the correction which is ongoing, but I think it is a good time to look at stock-specific opportunities.
Okay. Hi, Mr. Bhat. Good morning, sir. Since you think there could be a little bit more, at least to go by way of the correction that we're seeing, how much more do you think it could open up on the downside? And therefore, what would be the spaces to bet on, especially given the way the global cues are shaping up?
Right. So while it's obviously very difficult to peg a particular figure, given that, as I said, the Nifty itself has not really corrected as much as the broad market. It would actually not really help too much to look at the index in particular as an indicator for the kind of fall in the market. But that said, in terms of individual stock valuation levels, which had clearly reached very uncomfortable levels for a lot of them about a month ago, we think it's a good time. And in terms of sectors, we are very positive and overweight on the consumer space, so both the FMCG space and the durable space. So while valuations for these remain high, some of the stocks within this sector have given some opportunity in the correction that we've seen. The metal space as well. Right now, obviously, there is some negative news flow there, but we think it's a good time to look at adding to the metal sector as well, and the auto and auto ancillary space. So these are the three sectors where we think that there are good opportunities in the current market.